I'm 19, a trans female, and I recently made the difficult decision to block my family after they mocked me for my mental health struggles, including my attempts to cope after a recent breakup. I grew up in the northeast of England, but I moved to the northwest for university. This move was a big change, making it hard to see my friends back home. Just before moving, I got into an unexpected relationship that ended up causing me a lot of pain. I met my ex, online. Although I was on apps like Tinder, I wasn't looking for a relationship, but rather someone who could help me navigate being trans, learning about makeup, getting support, and just having someone to talk to. But when we met, we instantly hit it off, and before I knew it, we were in a relationship. We spent a lot of time together and were very close, but I often felt uncomfortable. I struggled with my body image, and sometimes being intimate with her would trigger these feelings, making me feel disconnected and even disgusted with myself. She didn't understand this and often pressured me into things I wasn't comfortable with. Eventually, she cheated on me while I was at university. Strangely, I didn't feel anger. Instead, I blamed myself, thinking maybe I wasn't doing enough to make her happy. After months of holding this inside, I finally confronted her, and that's when we broke up. I felt completely lost afterward, like I'd lost everything I had. I spiraled and made 4 attempts in a single week. The university stepped in when my friends reported what I was going through, and the whole situation made its way back to my family. Growing up, my family and I were never very close, but hearing them make fun of me, especially about my mental health, was unbearable.
Instead of offering support, they laughed and made cruel jokes, which only deepened the hurt.
After confiding in a friend, I decided to block my family. It's been 2 weeks, and I'm still questioning my choice. They're my family after all, but how could they mock something so painful? It's hard, and I still feel lost, but maybe it was the only way to protect myself. When I was 22, I dated a guy who seemed perfect at first. We talked every day, went on lots of dates, and everything felt amazing. But looking back, there was a red flag I ignored right from the start. The day he asked me to be his girlfriend, he got a call from his best friend. Let's call her Emma. As soon as he answered, she started complaining that he hadn't called her yet that day. He immediately began apologizing to her, completely blanking me out for 5 whole minutes. I remember feeling it was odd, but I brushed it off. As time went on, Emma's obsession with him became clear. She would constantly complain about him not spending enough time with her, and he'd often get pulled into long calls with her. A few months into our relationship, these calls became even more frequent. Then one evening, he texted me saying he'd be working late and might just visit Emma since she lived nearby, only about a 2-minute walk from the hospital where he worked. He added that I shouldn't expect him to come home anytime soon. Days went by, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something had happened between them. It was heartbreaking, and I started to believe they had probably crossed the line.
Then yesterday, he showed up at my door saying he had nowhere else to go.
Without a second thought, I told him no and shut the door in his face. That chapter is closed for good.